charge of that. Okay, we have done 3 of these so far, so we have 2 to go. We're actually very happy to be in Fresno presenting. The agenda for today. Good. There we go. Is as follows. So you'll remember, I'm sure, this quarterly update is when we have the opportunity to get together and do a debrief of the state of the company. And then you have the opportunity to ask questions and give feedback. And I really value that. It's interesting as we go around to all the different offices. Each office has its own personality. And the offices that are willing to provide feedback, engage, and ask questions actually end up being, much more enjoyable experience for me, because that's why I want to have these. It's one thing to just give you information, but that's one-way communication. I very much like the interactive dialogue, because in my mind, it is that exchange of ideas and questions and answers that helps us get where we need to be in the end. So today we're going to talk about the state of the company. We're going to talk about the quarterly quality trait. We're going to start each quarter having a trait that I want you all to be thinking about. I'm a big believer that half the battle is just having intention about how we act and thinking through, are there ways that we can make improvements, or are there things that we should be thinking about? So that will be the quality of the quarter that I want you to have in the back of your mind as you go through your day and through your life. Quarterly highlights, employee recognition and awards, holiday celebrations, financial highlights, business development, HR updates. Then when we get to the program overviews, we're starting something new this quarter. And part of the feedback that we received is that we tend to operate in silos. And we don't really know. We know what we do all day, every day, and we have generally a pretty good idea of what our program does on a larger scale. But beyond that, we don't really have an understanding or appreciation of what is it that RHA does. And I can tell you, I was guilty of this. We sat over here in the HVAC's office and built a team and developed a program and had absolutely no clue what we did in San Diego. I knew we did an ESA program, but didn't know anything about the program, didn't know the other elements of what we did. I didn't know what we did in the Chico office. In fact, I can still remember the look on Erica's face when she came over, and I was just taking over as CEO, and I was trying to make sense of what's the commonality of what we do. And then she talked about tech services, and I was like, tech services? And I still remember the look on her face like, oh, sister, you're in trouble. Maybe it's that we're in trouble. So it's important that we understand and start to take a step back and not just look at what we do each day, but what does RHA do? And what are the things that we do that are similar? Because it's through the combination and unification of that skill set that we actually can bring even more value and appeal to even more clients than we already do. So Julie was supposed to be here. She's designated herself officially sick today. So you'll have to pretend I'm Julie when we get to the HVAC slides. And then Nathan came to do technical services. And I told Nathan and Julie if anybody was going to be sick, thank goodness it was Julie, because I can't do tech services nearly as well as I can do HVAC. And then lastly, we'll wrap up, and we're going to have a pop quiz at the end. Okay, so the state of the company. 2014, our focus really is addressing corporate challenges. We're delivering on all of our contracts that we currently have, and everybody's doing a phenomenal job. I think our client satisfaction rating across the board is extremely high. Working to renew all of our existing contracts for 2015. HVACs, I actually just signed this morning, taking us through June of 2015. All of our energy contracts are being extended based on bridge funding that was recently approved. So 2015 on the energy side will mirror very much what we have now in 2014, which is great for us. Buys us time, just carries us forward one more year. In July, we had an innovations retreat where we got together a group of 30 of our innovative and strategic thinkers. They were not our only innovative and strategic thinkers. They were a representative group that represented different programs, different offices, different perspectives. And there is follow-up that's happening as a result of ideas that were generated there for short-term, mid-range, and longer-term concepts. I have a learning curve. Does anybody ever step into a new job and try to figure out what the heck you're doing? Nobody in this room, I'm sure, right? I thought I had it all mastered here. Been at RHA 20 months, and we'd written the playbook on HVACs, and then I was like, wow, energy. We got some stuff going on energy, right? Yeah. So just trying to learn all that we're doing, all the clients, all of our people. I had to find each of our offices. Thank goodness for GPS. So that takes time, and that's just part of my own evolution of coming to the job and being able to really, maximize my effectiveness. And lastly, the focus of 2014 is to start to build trust and open up communication and break down our silos. We went for a significant period of time without leadership at the executive level. We had, after Craig left, we had a period of 8 months without a CEO. We had the board who was very engaged, but they're not here day to day. And what happens in periods of absence is that things go undone. So in addition to trying to reestablish channels of communication and build on our existing culture to solidify it a little bit, opening up dialogue, building trust, getting people to talk and collaborate, that just takes time. You can't force that. So that's also a focus of 2014. I was looking back over old retreat notes. And one of the comments in the retreat notes was, we have no vision, we have no direction, we have no plan for moving forward. And I thought, wow, that's concerning, because many people within RHA would probably still say that. So the focus of 2015, once we get everything in 2014 back to where it needs to be, so that we are operating day to day at prime efficiency, the focus starting in 2015 is really a strategic plan. Where are we going to go? What does the road need to look like between 15 and 2020? And so we'll be starting to put that on paper in one of our CEO updates in 2015. It won't be the first one, which will be in January. The second or the third, that will be part of that session, will be the plan, so that we're all on the same page and we're all aligned and you have the opportunity to know it and ask questions and react to it. We're generating new opportunities in 2015. We're starting to take a step back and look bigger. We aren't just energy. We aren't just healthcare. We have a statewide ability to do outreach, as evidenced by the fact that we just got the low-income auto program, right? That's neither telecommunications nor energy nor healthcare. We are not our silos. We have a much bigger skill set. So we're looking at ways to broaden our horizons and to generate new opportunities for ourselves. And lastly, there will be a whole whirlwind of activity in early 2015 for 2016 contracts on the energy side. PG&E has made it known that all of their third-party contracts, which is all the lighting programs that we run for PG&E, are going to be let at the same time. So that's going to be a fun way to start the year. But we will be ready. So that's where we are in the here and now and looking forward. Any questions? I want you to have an understanding of this because, 2014 really, the reality is it really is a lot of housekeeping and, just building and regrouping. But starting in 2015, we're going to get much more strategic about our approach. Okay, our quarterly quality is leadership. I think leadership is fundamentally important, and I want to talk about leadership for a few reasons. First of all, for those of you who are in leadership roles, I want you to understand what my expectations are for our leaders. For those of you who are not in leadership roles, I want you to understand what you can count on from your leaders in this company. And for all RHA team members, whether you're in a leadership role or not, we have the opportunity to serve as leaders all the time. Whether you're a field representative who can serve as a leader with a customer or with colleagues in the office, every day we have opportunities to be leaders. And I want us always to be mindful, even if you don't have the title of manager or director or supervisor, to capitalize on the opportunities to be a leader when they present themselves. Because that helps us establish ourselves with the level of customer service and professionalism that we're striving to achieve. So effective, genuine leadership is about truth, action, honor, moving forward, admitting mistakes, and never quitting. Leadership is about influencing others by helping people learn how to live in community with respect and dignity for all. And lastly, leadership fundamentally is about service. Now, I believe all of those are true, but the fact that ultimately leadership about service really resonates with me. I learned that at a very young age in my professional career when I served in the military. And that is, in many ways, the military is ultimate service to country and to others. And I have carried that forward with me throughout my career. That I very much believe my role is to serve you and to make sure that you have everything you need to succeed. And if you don't, then I'm not doing my job, and I need to know what you're missing so we can fix it. But that you, in turn, serve others, whether they're your colleagues, your subordinates, the client, the consumers, whoever it is that you're interfacing with. You need to come from a place of service. Okay? Just things I want you to think about. So we have this big celebration plan because we've gone to all the offices, and in Fresno, Julie and Dory are here, and we have certificates to honor 20 years, and they're both not here today. Okay. We did recognize in LA when we were there Chris Medina. The LA office likes to designate an employee of the year, and Chris Medina truly exemplifies our company values and has for many years, but he was designated the employee of the year in the LA office for 2 years in a row. Lastly, Stephen, stand up since I have the opportunity to publicly embarrass you. Yay. Where is he? Stephen's 21 today. Just want to say happy birthday. Okay, I was putting together slides, and I thought, holiday celebrations, really? We're going to list all our holiday celebrations? And I thought, well, maybe people don't know what our holiday celebration is. Well, and in Fresno, we sent out a flyer, save the date flyer with details, but you'd be surprised how many people this was actually informing them when their respective holiday celebrations were going to be. And one of the things I've learned as I've gone around is that we need to take a good hard look at our email distribution groups because we're not getting everybody, and so some people don't know. So ours will be on the 12th. As we have done historically, we will be presenting our donation check to the Community Food Bank. That was our charity this year. We are anticipating that we'll raise somewhere in the vicinity of $6,000 to give to them. And then if you want to go on the road show and do any of the others, let me know and we'll talk about it. Okay. Stacey, do you want to talk to financial highlights? Sure. Since you're here? Sure.
Good morning, everybody.
Did everybody know Stacey? Yeah? Stacey Alexander is our interim CFO. She took over where Raymond left off. And we are so lucky that we have this amazingly qualified person who just was, our corporate controller, and was willing and more than capable of stepping into the CFO role.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm really excited to let you guys know where we're trending and how things are going. I know that there was a lot of kind of uncertainty with all the changes and contract changes that we've been through, but we are trending towards setting a new record for profit in 2014, giving us 2 consecutive years of record financial performance. And despite the unexpected changes in the business that we've experienced in the third quarter, our revenues and our margins remain really, really strong. Our overhead costs continue to be tightly managed. We're looking at all of our processes from inventory to travel expenses to everything, overhead expenses, and we're tightly managing those, which are contributing to that record-setting profit margin in 2014. And then Cynthia talked about, we're going after new contracts, and so even though we lost some of the contracts unexpectedly, we are in the process of backfilling those, and so our financial performance, we're ahead of where we thought we would be from a budget perspective in 2014. We're significantly ahead of where we thought we would end up for 2014, and that's despite the loss of those 2 contracts unexpectedly. So, so we remain strong from a financial perspective, and our cash flow remains strong. In September, we didn't rely at all on our line of credit. So we do have a line of credit that sometimes we rely on, but in September, as through the end of August through September and even through today, we haven't had to use our line of credit at all. So cash flow remains strong. So we are a financially stable institution that continues to grow. Woo!
News, right? Because we want to work for a company that has financial stability, right? The other thing about having a hugely profitable year is it means what? We are anticipating having a very large bonus pool at the end of 2014, which will be awarded in early 2015, consistent with kind of the usual schedule. And you all know, I think, that historically the owners have been incredibly generous in sharing our success, sharing, the profitability. So as a result of all the hard work that goes into being so profitable, you can expect to see rewards for that come March timeframe, generally. Okay, new contracts on the business development front. We talked last time about the fact that we had been awarded a contract with SoCalGas, and we were subbed to CB&I, and it has to do with marrying up commercial loans with the SB 504 loan program and businesses that qualify who are looking to renovate or rehab or purchase new facilities. Does that sound familiar? Okay. So we're now doing the same type of program with San Diego Gas and Electric. Still a sub to CB&I, but that appears that it's gaining momentum. And our hope is that, we can continue to expand that to include taking it to other states if we have the opportunity. CB&I is huge. They're in numerous places, and as good partners, are very happy to have us augmenting the effort. We have pending contract approval for the city of Victorville. I think actually that was supposed to be signed a couple of days ago. In the city of Azusa, we're awaiting contract approval on lighting projects. With Cigna and Humana on the healthcare side, we're finalizing the statements of work and the master services agreement so that we can put together grassroots networks for both of those health plans. We're pending award notification for SDG&E on the commercial direct install side. I literally am playing telephone tag with him, and it's killing me. Just tell me one way or the other. And we found out last Friday that we won the California Low-Cost Auto Insurance Program. We successfully, I don't know how many RFPs were submitted. We were one of 4 who were selected for oral interviews. Those were given last Thursday, and we were notified on Friday. Among others, we beat out Ogilvy. Contract expansions that are in progress, CFC, Cap and Trade, SDG&E on the ESA program. We're expanding to do a water measures pilot. The City of Azusa has asked us to put together a proposal for low-income residential energy efficiency. Right now, with all of the SCAPA organizations, we just do commercial. So this would expand our reach into the residential side. The SCAPA organizations are 12 different locally owned utilities in Southern California. They tend to it's kind of like dominoes, right? It's easy once you get one. The others look at what you're doing and say, wait a minute, we want that. It's like having kids. Hey, Stacy has that, I want one. So, hopefully not only would that be good news in Azusa, but also help us expand our offering in Southern California. Cover California, when we built this slide, we had been asked to give them a proposal for additional work with agents. They've since notified us they're going a completely different direction that isn't applicable for us. But it's always nice, some things come to fruition and some things don't. It's just the nature of how it goes, but it's nice that people keep coming back to us and saying, how about, could you do this? Could you do that? And of course, we always say, of course. And then we turn around and go, I don't know how. Sure we can. And contract renewals, we're in the process of renewing the ESA program with Southwest Gas. Okay. So on our key positions, our Chief Information Officer, we had found a great candidate. We were very excited about bringing it on board. He was supposed to start Monday. And had some things happen on the personal side that had absolutely nothing to do with RHA that really made him reconsider moving, not reconsider coming to RHA, but reconsider leaving the job where he had established stability, because he's not sure on the personal side what's going to be happening, and it was not a good time to make any changes. So he will not be joining us. That position is reposted. We are actively seeking somebody. The beauty of it is that because we have Steve, who oversees the IS team, and Frank, who oversees the IT team, and they have tremendous strength unto themselves, we have the flexibility to wait until we find just the right fit. Of course, you'll remember that Ed left us. We talked about this last time, that Ed left us because we have to convert that role to an employee role, and Ed wanted to remain a contractor because it's consistent with how he's set up his life and his family financial stability. So he was not interested in coming on as an employee. So we are looking for somebody to fill that role. It is a hard fill because of the skills that we need. It's a combination of skills and personality, and we're in Fresno, which just makes it a little trickier. But when the right person is there, we'll be ready. And in the interim, we're in great hands. The Chief Financial Officer, same thing. We are incredibly fortunate to have such an amazingly talented team that has incredible depth of skills and knowledge. Raymond, of course, left us in August because he got a job with Nike, which is a phenomenal opportunity for Raymond. Again, Raymond did not leave because he was running for fear of anything going on here. He had an opportunity that was too good for him to pass up. And what a nice testament to RHA to have one of ours selected for a position at Nike. Raymond did a tremendous amount of good in the 2 years he was here, and we wish him well. And in the interim, with Stacy at the helm and her team supporting her, we are in incredibly good hands on the accounting side. So you'll see those positions posted. We'll take our time to find just the right fit. It's been very chaotic for the company to turn over the executive staff in a period of 15 months. We don't want to repeat that. So we're looking to take our time to find long-term players who want to be here 5 or 10 years. Because that's really how we're going to get the chemistry and the knowledge and the cohesiveness to truly get us where we want to be. Any questions on that? Okay, so these are all our vacancies. We have quite some number of vacancies right now. So you, many times, are our best referral sources. If you know people who would be interested in coming to work at RHA, please make sure to tell them all the reasons why they would want to come to work at RHA. Also, if you go to our website and you click on the top right-hand corner of the careers page, all of the vacancies are listed there in greater detail. So they could click on the link and read the job description. Okay, so Jennifer, you want to talk to people about what you and your team will be working on?
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday, right? Thursday today. Okay. HR is going to be very busy in the last quarter of 2014. We've spent the last few months ramping up to this, and we're finally getting to the point where we're going to realize some major changes that are coming through that you will all see. The projects that we're currently working on that we wanted to tell you about was the first, which is all near and dear to our hearts, is a review of our PTO policies. And you should see some changes to the PTO policies. We're meeting with the board in October to finalize those changes, and we'll roll those changes out to everyone. An employee survey. This is something we've done in the past. We did not have a survey last year, and we've gotten some feedback on ways we could improve our survey. So we're very excited to be rolling out a survey in the early part of November because we want your feedback. We want to know what you think so that we can act appropriately in making changes that personally affect you. Okay. A new evaluation tool and process. Boy, have I heard lots of negatives about our evaluation process. So we're throwing out the old. We're starting from scratch, and we're actually going to try to build this into Workday. Workday is our HRIS system. Most of the managers know about Workday, more so than the employees, but we are going to get all of the employees involved in Workday because the evaluation process helps facilitate dialogue between both. So we are excited to roll that out. We're also adjusting the timing on the evaluation process so that it has more meaning. So we are going to start it in a crazy time of year of December and January, and I know that's going to be very impactful for especially the people at HVAC because you're in the middle of open enrollment. So we're going to try to be as flexible as possible, but we need the evaluation to be meaningful, and since it's evaluating 2014, you kind of want to know right away, right? You don't want to wait. We are also working on an employee handbook revision. The last time the employee handbook was revised was 2011. That's been a while. We've had some changes, and we're doing a wholesale revision of the handbook, so that will be coming out towards the end of the year. We're also working on a new onboarding process for new employees, and that process should be in place and rolled out no later than January. And we are working on putting together a curriculum plan for manager and supervisor training for all of 2015. This won't be just open to managers and supervisors. Some of it will be, but some of it will be open to anybody who wants to learn and advance in their positions. Okay? Enough on my plate? I don't know about you guys, but every time I talk about it like this, I get a little more stressed. But I'm excited because, like I said, we've been ramping up for a few months now, and I'm excited to actually bring you guys some changes. All right, thank you.
Okay, I'm now stepping into the role of Julie. And most people in this office, I think, at least have, or that are here, have familiarity with HVACs, although maybe some of you in the ESTA program have no idea. So we're going to spend a few minutes talking about our health benefit exchange program. Covered California is the state agency that was created in response to the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, sometimes affectionately known as Obamacare. And really what Covered California is it's referred to as a marketplace. And marketplace is a fancy term for a website where people can go and shop for insurance plans. So think Amazon for health insurance. The deal is that every plan that is on in that marketplace has been reviewed to make sure that it's offering the same coverage that every other plan that it would be compared with. So you're doing an apples-to-apples comparison when you're looking at the plans on that website. Simplify things immeasurably for the consumer, because a lot of people would have the experience of getting insurance coverage and then having something happen and realizing, oh, that's not covered, that was in the fine print. Well, there's no more fine print. There are 10 things that have to be covered on every plan, and beyond those 10 things, they can have nuances. But there's no more kind of, oh, sorry, you're covered. There's no lifetime cap anymore. There's no pre-existing condition. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't have insurance because you're already sick, so we don't want to have anything to do with you. That all went away. So Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act, really is very friendly for the consumer. Covered California itself doesn't sell insurance. Covered California just provides the marketplace and regulates kind of the rules to make sure that it's a level playing field. But it's Anthem and Blue Cross and Kaiser, United. Those are the types of health insurance carriers that we all are used to, and that's who sells the insurance through the marketplace. Covered California. So to be selected, health plans bid. It's a secret RFP process, and they spend copious amounts of time reviewing what the plans want to offer, and then they select them to be on the exchange. Covered California is currently contracted with 10 health plans for the 2015 open enrollment, which starts November 15th of this year and will run through February 15th of next year. Consumers can purchase insurance on the private marketplace. So if you don't want to shop at Covered California, you can still get insurance the good old-fashioned way. You go to your agent, you find coverage the way you've always found coverage. The disadvantage to doing that for the consumer is that the consumer would otherwise be eligible for cost-sharing reductions or tax subsidies to help offset the cost of the monthly health insurance premium. They can only get those if they buy through the Covered California marketplace. So that's what incentivizes consumers, is because many consumers do qualify for some sort of monthly assistance that helps offset those costs and make it more affordable. The target population for Covered California overlaps in many ways with many of our other programs. Anybody under 139% of the federal poverty level is actually Medi-Cal eligible. They're not a target of Covered California. Anybody from 139% to 400% of the federal poverty level is possibly eligible for subsidies. Certainly anybody between 139% and 250% of FPL will be eligible for subsidies. Of course, for those of you who work on other programs know that 200 to 250 range coincides with eligibility for a lot of our other programs as well. So there's a lot of overlap with the same consumers. Above 400% FPL, there are no subsidies that are available to help offset costs, but they can still come and shop on the marketplace if the consumer falls in that income range. Covered California this year was also targeting Latino, Asian, and African American ethnicities, as well as young invincibles. Those are groups that didn't sign up at the levels that they were anticipated to. So a lot of the marketing and outreach efforts and in-person assistance is geared towards getting those groups enrolled at higher levels this year. So who can enroll through Covered California? We already talked about the open enrollment period. Also, so anybody can enroll in open enrollment, just like when we have our open enrollment at the company, right? All company employees can enroll. You can make whatever changes you want to make. Same thing with Covered California's open enrollment. Otherwise, if you want to enroll outside that window, you have to have a qualifying life event. Qualifying life events would be you lose your job, so you lose your health insurance, you have a baby, you get divorced, and your coverage was provided through your spouse. Any number of life-changing events that would impact your health insurance will qualify as a qualifying condition, and then you can enroll outside the open enrollment window during special enrollment. But otherwise, the vast majority of consumers come in through open enrollment because you don't have to have that qualifying condition, and it's open enrollment. Households eligible for Medi-Cal, so those under 139% FPL can still apply through Covered California and become enrolled in Medi-Cal. And consumers can enroll in Medi-Cal year-round. There is no open enrollment window for Medi-Cal. That's ongoing. Households over 400% FPL can purchase plans but don't qualify for subsidies. And individuals who qualify for Medi-Cal can buy a Covered California plan at full price. So I remember very early on, open enrollment last year, I got a call from one of the subject matter experts at Covered California. He was like, hey, Cynthia, get this. There's this woman that came in for help, and they couldn't, whoever she was working with couldn't answer her questions, so they called the call center, and he was providing support at the call center. So this woman had money. She had cash in her bank account, but she had no income. So she falls under the 139% FPL, right? She's Medi-Cal eligible, and she says, I don't want Medi-Cal. I want a Covered California plan. And the question was, normally she'd be routed into Medi-Cal. Can she have a Covered California plan? Yes, she can, but she pays full price for it, which was fine with her because she had the means to do that. So it's kind of interesting sometimes, the scenarios that come up, because we tend to think as, under 139% FPL as, being very, very low income. Most of the time that's true. Most of the time Medi-Cal really is a benefit for that segment of the population. But that's not always the case. So Covered California does allow people to pay full price if they want to decline the coverage they're otherwise eligible for at low or no cost. So RHA's involvement with Covered California. Covered California has to implement community outreach and enrollment assistance programs. And our contract started very small. We started with the in-person assistance program. We were awarded that work back in August of 2012. And in very short order, which is to say in about 2 weeks from that period of time, they said, hey, have you guys ever done grants? And it was one of those, yeah, and could you write an RFP for us? Oh, yeah, right? So we did. So our work grew from, and the first draft, I got a call from the client like, this is terrible. Do you guys actually know what you're doing? We do. And now we've written, I don't even know how many RFPs we've written for them at this point, 5 or 6 maybe. So in addition to the in-person assistance program, we facilitated the outreach and education program, and more recently we're just bringing up the Navigator Grant program. Then we also had a training program where we trained all these people plus agents and wrote all the curriculum. It was great. Our network of partners is displayed on the map. It's a little hard to see, but you can kind of get the feel for how broad that network is that we developed. The purple dots are agents. We don't actually oversee the agent population. We did train them. That was all part of the fun. But otherwise, the rest of the dots on there are part of our network that we have built for Covered California. And you can see on the left some of the names that you'll recognize. Those are all our partners. Terms you might hear, certified enrollment entity is an organization that signs up to provide enrollment assistance. The certified enrollment counselors are the people who work for them and actually interface directly with consumers to get them enrolled. Outreach and education grantees are people who just help spread the word Just tell consumers. That program is being phased out. We anticipate that it will be wrapped up most likely in this calendar year. There may be a little bit of, there may be a tail, but the funds are set to sunset in December. Certified educators are the people who worked for the Outreach and Education grantees, and now we have the Navigator grantees that were just named. They do both outreach and education, so they spread the word. But then as soon as that consumer's ready to take action, they're standing there ready to enroll them. So, and that's the direction that the program will move in on a permanent basis as a Navigator program. It is mandated by the federal legislation that every exchange have a Navigator program. So there will be long-term stability in terms of a Navigator program, and hopefully that work will belong to us. The in-person assistance program we talked about. So we facilitated, again, this was all the assistance face-to-face with getting enrolled. We facilitated the application process, including the review, follow-up, and initial approval of organizations and individuals that wanted to help. Coordinated with multiple parties for background checks, appeals, and final approvals. And then getting that information from our system, which Steve and his team built, that was supposed to be a system in existence for 3 months, and now has been in existence for 15 months. And there's no end in sight into the Covered California System of Record, which is called CalHERS. There are 9 field staff who manage and monitor over 900 organizations with over 6,000 enrollment counselors. This is Elizabeth Catanese, oversees this program. She and her team are busy, as you can well imagine. Grant programs. We administered 2 grant programs. We just talked about those, the Outreach and Education Grant Program and the Navigator Grant Program. In collaboration with Covered California, we developed multiple RFAs and actually designed a scoring and ranking system where we had evaluators go in and review electronically the applications, give them a score, and then those scores all fed into what you screenshot is what you see on the left-hand side that allowed us to toggle some of the variables so that we could get the right mix in terms of reach geography, reach within the various demographics we were trying to get to, whether it was race or income or language. And the map, of course, you can see kind of that's the visual demonstration of how effectively we were covering areas that we were looking to cover. This program has 12 field coordinators that monitor grantee activities, provide technical support, and offer guidance to help meet their goals. So when I say we train God and country, collectively we trained 18,000 people. I am not kidding you. 2,000 certified educators, 2,000 certified enrollment counselors, and 10,000 agents. The agents were very special. In addition, what's not on here are all of the organizations that we trained, because each organization that participated had to have trained staff that knew how to actually manage and oversee the program. We're currently involved with revising the curriculum in collaboration with Covered California and developing new computer-based training modules. The first go-round we actually did most of the training by instructor-led training, where somebody would stand up for 3 days and walk through death by PowerPoint and train people. Now we're actually getting computer savvy and converting most of the training to computer-based training modules. That's the org chart that you can't see. It's big, 55 people. We were at about 110 when Covered California extended our contract, but shrank the contract award amount. We cut the team by about half. But the team that remains is incredibly talented and motivated and committed to doing whatever it takes, and they work very hard to deliver this program. This is a program of a massive scale that's still very much evolving on a daily basis. So they're highly adaptable as well. All right, questions on HVAC? Nathan, I can't do yours.
All right, I'll do it. Well, that's a tough act to follow. She's funny, I'm not funny. So my kids even tell me if I try to make a joke, my daughters will be like, Dad, don't even try. Mom's the funny one. But I'll do my best here. So, I want to talk about tech services. I know for this group, probably the least familiar with tech services and probably even some of the technical stuff that we do. So I'll try to talk about that. I'm Nathan. I'm the technical director, and I run our technical services department. And I'm a mechanical engineer, and I've been with RHA for about 4 years. And this is our technical services department. So this is really the group of people, and I'll talk about what we do. But we do two things. We support internal clients here at RHA, and then we have external consulting work that we do under contract. And I think this is our team. It's 7 people, and we're looking to expand to 8. We're trying to hire a senior engineer in Chico. But what's really interesting about this team is how many different skill sets are on the team. We have a teacher. We have somebody that studied recreation. We have engineers. We have Jason, who manages our CSD program. He was really involved in policy and actually worked for a developer trade organization before he came to RHA. So it's just a very diverse set of skills that we pull together to meet all these different needs for all these different clients. But the other important thing is what this isn't. And this is not RHA's technical expertise in totality. If you think about everything we do on the residential side, we serve low income, middle income, and market rate all over California on residential. I mean, that is a lot of technical expertise. I don't think there's another company in California that can claim the level of technical expertise and non-technical expertise for serving those different market segments than we have at RHA. And then same thing on the commercial side. We tend to target the hard to reach, but we're really starting to expand into more technical offerings such as the Prop 39, the SB 504 work that we're doing in San Diego, and I think that snowball's starting to build. So, and that's not up there. Those technical resources are spread out across the state in the programs, but vital, and just want to point that out because they're not up there. So, so then first I'm going to talk about the internal consulting that we do. Down at the bottom, I think the foundation of really everything that we do is technical program support. And why this is so important is because we get to work with many of our technical or all of our technical programs across the company and really get to learn the ins and outs of those programs. And so we'll have program managers call us up and say, hey, I'm working on this. Do you have any staff that can support this development effort? Or I had a question about how to measure the flow of an exhaust fan. This one came up yesterday, and this is what I'm thinking. And we were able to say, well, that's probably not the best way to do it. We'll do a little research, and we'll help you figure out how to do this, how to meet this need of your client. But by far, that's at the bottom. It's not the majority of where we spend our time, but it's probably the most important thing that we do because it gives us an overview and insight into all these different programs. So we build on that, and we also offer program design and development support. So we work closely with Erica and BD and the program managers as proposals come out and help do some of the design, handle some of the measure selection and energy saving calculations that go into building that proposal, as well as we do program design for clients. So we're working with the ESA program right now and trying to give them ideas what they should be working on next year. And then we also do technical consulting, and I'm calling it strategic consulting because we're not just out there hitting the road looking for every project that we could possibly get our hands on with 7 people. We have enough work to keep us busy right now. Maybe someday we'll do that, but right now we really focus on what is the strategic work that we can do to support our existing program. So can we do a little now that will turn into a big program later? And then finally, technical oversight. And I think we came up with this a long time ago, but really trying to provide technical oversight to make sure that our technical service offerings are aligned with the needs of our clients and helping read between the lines. Sometimes people think technical, they think 100% right 100% of the time, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you want to be able to ballpark it quickly, And that might be the need of the client. And so we can help kind of read between the lines and make sure that what we're offering is really aligned with what that client's asking for. So that's internal. And then external, we have 3 major categories of programs. So CSD training and technical assistance. This is a pretty big contract for my team. And what we do here is we provide technical consulting in support of the federally funded weatherization programs. So just like ESA is a statewide weatherization program funded by ratepayer funds through the investor-owned utilities, there's also federal funds that come from the Department of Energy and the Department of Health and Human Services, and they come to California and they have a weatherization program that runs just alongside and unrelated to ESA. And we support that program with standards and technical consulting and training and analysis. The second big category we do is the ESA statewide training and technical support. And what this contract is just like we have PG&E ESA and SDG&E ESA operations and ESA inspections for SoCalGas and Edison, we also have, well, our statewide training, we write all the standards for this program. So what those people are implementing, my group works closely with Jim O'Bannon, who's still very involved in that process, and helps keep the standards updated and add new measures, change them as needed. And this is, we were talking about it when we were in Chico the other day, this has been going on for 36 years now. So starting out with the original few weatherization measures that I heard the original standards were written in a hotel room, you know, but turned into this huge effort. Now there's about 50 measures. It's a huge volume, and it supports 350,000 dwellings statewide across the state. And so we're still going strong and keeping those standards updated, and we're about to release another revision of those standards that complies with the Title 24 that took effect in July. So that's that one. And then other programs. We also have a lot of little programs that pop up, and so we work with people across the state that might be in programs that have a little extra time. And one example is this building operator certification training that we're doing right now in San Diego. That was just something that they said, hey, do you guys do training? We're like, yeah, and they said, well, can you help us do this? And so we're facilitating these training classes down in San Diego, and that's great because we were able to reach out to somebody down there that had a little extra on their plate and can help keep them busy and unload their salary off of the EUC program for a little bit, and once that picks up, we can put somebody else in there. So lots of little other programs. And then finally, my last slide here, I listed some of our current projects. And these are our favorite projects. These are the ones that I've been having fun working on lately. So the ESA program / CSD weatherization leveraging pilot study. So I explained a little while ago, just like ESA, there's the federally funded weatherization programs. And the PUC came out and told the utilities, hey, you should be working with CSD because there's probably some efficiencies that can be gained if you're working together. And the governor's office told CSD, hey, you should be working with the utilities so that for the same reasons. And I think the governor's office talked to the PUC beforehand. But so we facilitated a leveraging pilot study. We really wanted to be able to see if in this joint program, can more measures be available to customers? And we found out, yes, they can. People participating in the joint program doubled or tripled the energy savings that they would have gotten if they'd only participated in one. Are we able to treat more customers? And we said yes. In the joint program, there was a richer menu of measures, and so the measure minimums of each programs were met in this joint program, meaning more people could participate. And then were we able to reduce the admin cost? So instead of doing 2 sets of enrollment, 2 assessments, 2 income qualifications, 2 inspections, 2 of everything, send 2 crews to the house, can we reduce the admin costs? And actually, this one didn't come out. It increased a little bit, but you know, now we're working on phase 2 of the pilot so that we can address that particular point. We proved the value to the customer, and so now let's just make it cheaper in phase 2. We're also also right now working on data analysis to project CSD production under cap and trade. And so these CSDs pretty soon going to have 3 programs, the WAP program, the DOE program, LIHEAP, and then cap and trade. So they got $80 million of this funding that was generated by selling carbon credits, and now they're going to put that back into low-income communities through doing solar projects, large multifamily projects, and single-family weatherization projects. But now they have goals that they really have to hit. The ARB wants to know how much carbon are you guys actually going to be able to offset, and so we're helping them figure out how much carbon they're going to offset, and then what do they have to change to meet their goals. And so that's been a really interesting project. And then finally, we're working on a kind of a weatherization 2.0 concept for CSD. And so, I think if you're following any of the regulatory happenings right now, there's some big questions that people are asking in low-income weatherization, just across the board. How do we get more cost-effective? How do we make these programs more cost-effective? 1. 2, how do we get deeper savings in these homes? We're already going out there. How can we get more savings in every home? And then, of course, how can we identify the customers where all these things can happen? And so we're looking at a weatherization 2.0 concept that can use billing data, can use more streamlined energy audit tools, but still select the customers where they might benefit from an HVAC upgrade or another measure, even though typically that's not cost effective. And let's see, and then also use billing data to really understand what does that customer need before you ever even get to the house. So if we process billing data, we can tell, hey, your heater's really, you're using way more than you should. So we know when we go to that house, we should look at the furnace or maybe the insulation or figure out why we're doing that. Or we could just say, hey, you could be asleep at night and you're using 1 kilowatt. What do you have plugged in at night? And we could treat that customer by addressing that. And so this is kind of that weatherization 2.0 concept that we're talking about, trying to tie all these things together to serve some subset of customers differently and try it out. So that's the end of my presentation. I don't know if anybody has any questions. Nobody has any questions?
So Nathan and his team work out of our Chico office. Does everybody know where Chico is? North. Lord have mercy. You get to Sacramento and you're like, oh, man, I still have an hour and a half. But Chico is a beautiful place, and Chico is a great office, so if you ever get the opportunity to hang out with our Chico folks, don't pass it up. They like to just say, oh, we're just from Chico. They're crazy. They're a lot of fun, and they are just a great team. Okay, so our next CEO update will be in January. In between, we will start having monthly phone calls that will be shorter, probably a half an hour in duration, just to get out the latest, greatest news so everybody feels like you're informed. We're going to try to get on a cycle so everybody knows when these will occur, the 3rd Wednesday of every month. So we have scheduled November 19th will be the 3rd Wednesday of November. And before our pop quiz, are there any questions? Or anybody have answers for my questions or feedback? We put you all to sleep. Blame Nathan.
I have a question for Jennifer.
Yeah, sure.
Does the PTO policy that you're revamping or whatever, does that address sick leave also, or?
So PTO, from an HR perspective, is a combination of vacation and sick leave. It provides more flexibility because you can use the time off for whatever you want, whether it's vacation time, sick time, whatever. The alternative to a PTO policy is the 2 separate buckets of vacation time and sick leave. Because of the way the law is written around sick leave, or excuse me, around vacation, actually around both. Sick leave can only be used for qualified medical reasons. You cannot use it for anything else, and so it's much more restrictive. So in what regard are you looking at addressing?
Well, just looking at the number of hours accrued based on you know, years of service or whatever it is, and just for me personally, you know, looking at the amount of time I actually use my vacation days for something enjoyable and not to be sick or you know, with a sick kid or you know, whatever it is. And so when I did that personal evaluation, I was astounded at how many of my hours went to me being sick. And I just hadn't worked for a company that didn't have like kind of the silos of,
right.
yeah, like, you know, one experience was like you use 2 of your vacation days, but then your sick leave, you know, kicks in, or, you know, something like that. And I was just curious if any.
So the PTO balances now, or the accruals now, are equivalent to taking the 2 buckets and combining them. So, you know, and it's pretty consistent from best practices standard with, you know, most companies give 2 weeks vacation and 1 week sick leave. And we get 3 weeks PTO when you first start. So from a best practices standpoint, we're in line. So in that regard, I'm going to say we're probably not addressing the accruals. We are looking at the maximums. That is for sure. That's probably
lowering the maximums again?
Oh, no. We're looking at increasing the maximum. Any other questions for HR?
Other questions generally? Yeah, Phil.
Yeah, being new and everything, and you guys are talking about the strategic plan and such, and I was just curious, as you're looking at the 5-year strategic plan for the whole company, and you're talking to other, you know, companies and competition and stuff like that, what do you think our kind of RHA as a whole, like our core competencies are that you're trying to leverage through new business and the 5-year strategy and all that kind of thing?
So I think that our core competency is reaching hard-to-reach consumers through the various mechanisms we've developed to do that, and then we support that in different ways. So through tech services really offers additional support to be able to do that and to facilitate programs on the energy side that actually offer value. On the IS side, we support that effort with systems that we build, help us run effective programs. But ultimately, I think the heart of what we do is we connect clients who have typically very large programs because they're large government clients or large businesses, and they're trying to reach these consumers who, by their very nature, are skeptical of big government or big business, and they're not going to get there. Not going to get there without us or a company like us serving as a bridge and using the skills that we've developed over time. So if we view ourselves that way and we start to think about, okay, we know PG&E likes us because we can reach, you know, 123,000 homes a year to weatherize them, and we know San Diego Gas and Electric likes us because we reach another 20,000 homes a year to get them enrolled in the energy savings program. You know, Covered California likes us because we help them reach thousands of consumers to get them enrolled in health insurance. But who else would like us? So Google was just at a big search with Stevie, look on your face. Where are you going, Cynthia? Google just did a big search with, they have this really, and they did this in the Midwest, but they went around and actually surveyed low-income consumers trying to figure out, why are you not using the higher efficiency broadband? And it just came down to low-income consumers don't want to pay for that. They really are just happy on their slow dial-up. They're good with that. But Google wants to sell that, you know, their new products, and they want to sell them to low-income consumers. Well, wow, think about that as a business opportunity. Who else wants to tap into the market? Sometimes it's low-income. Sometimes they just, you know, it has nothing to do with income. It has to do with the fact that there are cultural or language barriers. And, you know, ain't no way PG&E is getting to a Hmong household. It's just not going to happen without some sort of intermediary there serving as a trusted messenger. They try all day, every day. Send as many flyers as you want. But we are affiliated with Stone Soup in Fresno. They are a known trusted partner of ours. If you want to get to the Hmong community, Stone Soup is the way to do that. PG&E doesn't know to do that, so they need a company like RHA to say, we'll pull, remember the map, we'll pull all that together for you. That's our network. We talk that language. We're a for-profit with a nonprofit heart. So that's very much the direction I see us going. It doesn't mean we'll stop doing anything we do now, but I think ultimately that is our niche. That is the true value that we offer, ultimately to help those who are hard to reach get programs and services that improve their lives. But beyond that, start to pool all that information together so we truly are the experts. And we'll start in California, and as we have other opportunities, such as we have with the large health plans, you know, we'll look to see if we can recreate that in other geographies. It's probably way more information than you want.
But that's what it's going to look like.
Any other questions? No. Other feedback? I'm excited that we're going to do a survey. One of the components of the survey will be that it's anonymous. Because the last time we did a survey, we didn't ask names. We just asked what program you work for, who your boss was, and where you sat. By cubicle number, right. But not your name. Right, because then we were giving up the anonymity, right? So one of the things we're doing, because that didn't feel good, and people said, well, I didn't answer honestly, you know exactly who I am, is to bring in a third-party consultant who does this all the time so that we truly are facilitating a survey where there's anonymity. Because it's important to us to get your feedback. Again, we want to have a culture that's about transparency and honesty and openness, but we also realize that sometimes that feels risky to go there. So we want to try to minimize that by allowing everybody to say whatever it is you need to say. Don't go say it on Glassdoor unless you tell me first. So that is coming, and I am very excited because I know when I say any feedback, you all look at me like, what are you nuts? We're not giving you feedback here. Okay, anything else you want to talk about?
It's not a question, it's kind of a question. So with the survey and the anonymity and using this third party, so as I understand it, the contract between this service organization or third party and RHAs, they don't disclose, they just disclose the results, and by contract, they will not disclose any particular
we won't know any kind of identifying characteristics. We'll see the data aggregated. We also will see, you know, if there are comments, we'll see comments pooled by question, I'm imagining. But other than that, we won't know. We won't see, you know, a survey in its totality for each employee that responds. We won't ever see that.
Because I know one of the issues that, like previously in the survey, we would get information like by department, you know, and so, you know, a department that had one person. You know, loses that anonymity.
You know, that's true. That's true. And we do need to identify whether we have any of those areas where it would be a dead giveaway. But we are consciously working to minimize any of that so everybody feels comfortable. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, so last we met, we were in a bus. Remember the bus? And we were going somewhere. I don't remember where we were going, in the Fresno office. Somewhere really exciting, I'm sure. But we were talking about our mission, our vision, our values, and our motto. So who can give me any one of the four? I'll tell you the mission is the hardest, so I would start with something other than that.
Do whatever it takes.
All right, is our motto. Okay, so we're down to 3 choices.
Tact,
Okay,
Which is?
proactive, accountable, adaptable. Help me out.
good. Tact are our values. Proactive, adaptable, accountable, committed team. How about our vision? No cheating. It's not open book. Very good. Say it again, Alan. Very good. Connecting our clients to diverse populations.
Way to go, Alan. Way to go.
Good job. Okay, anybody know the mission?
Achieving our client goals and regulated industries. Developing matching delivering programs to target the population.
What is he reading?
Very good. Outstanding. You get the prize.
Whoever that is.
To achieve our clients' goals in regulated industries by developing matching and delivering programs to target populations. Very good. Outstanding, Alan. Okay, so it is your job to know these. Next time, I will quiz you again. There will be prizes. This was a dry run. Next time, it's important. It's important because this is a big part of what helps define our corporate culture. So it is my expectation that everybody will know them and be able to rattle them off, just as Alan did so beautifully. As well as Frank and Stacy. Okay, that's it. Have a great day. Thank you.